Series here at SunTrust Park. Last night, Arizona won Game 1 by a 2-1 final score. The Braves trying to rebound against Zach Greinke today. Hi again, friends. Paul Bird, Chip Carey, welcome back to the ballpark. Atlanta starts action a game and a half behind the Phillies in the East. And today, Paul, to get this series even, they've got to face one of the game's best, newly minted all-star, Zach Greinke, who's got the ball for Arizona.
No, he's fantastic, and he's very fun to watch. He's going to throw a lot of different pitches on this Saturday afternoon special. Excited to see this guy throw. Now, he's got change-ups that'll go from 68 miles an hour to 83, as you see one right there. He's got the slow curveball that you see. He can also throw the ball 95 down and in. Most of the stuff is down. There's a slider, throws 6, 7, 8 pitches. We'll see what's hot today. And in the last 10 seasons, Chip, that MLB winning percentage of .687 is good enough for second. Low ERA, a lot of strikeouts, and a lot of quality starts.
And 10-0 in the month of July in his last 14 starts in this month. He's facing Sean Newcomb, Paul, who got off to an all-star worthy start for the Braves, but I think it's safe to say that the young left-handers hit a bump in the road for the Braves.
No, he struggled, but he's growing up, and this is part of the process. This is a good test for him to go against a good pitcher and try to return to the form that we saw early that we're going to see here with the nasty fastball that's electric. It's 92 to 95, can play even higher. The big curve, and when he gets the ball up, he'll get some chase, and then when he follows with that changeup, he's again very tough to beat.
Yeah, last 6 starts, 1-3 record, high ERA. Strike one's been a problem, walks have been a problem, heat and humidity have been a problem for Sean. Hopefully, Zach Greinke and the Diamondbacks won't.
Sponsored by your local Ford dealer and the Georgia Lottery.
It's turned out to be a beautiful day here at SunTrust Park, and we're leading you up to first pitch of Game 2 between the Diamondbacks and the Braves. And when you come to SunTrust Park, or you're watching the Braves in general, you know the backbone of this team is Freddie Freeman. You come to the ballpark, you know he's going to be at first base, and you know you can pencil him in right there in the 3-hole. And he has had a phenomenal season, as you know, so far. But look at the last 3 seasons, top 3 in the NL in slugging and OPS. And you know this guy is on his way to the All-Star game as a starter. He is on his way to the Home Run Derby, and he has garnered a lot of attention this season, much deserved. Here's more on your first baseman, Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman. Freddie comes to the field every day with a smile on his face.
The most impressive active hitter.
He's just one of the best baseball players in the game.
As one of the Braves' top prospects, Freddie Freeman reached the majors in 2010 and made an immediate impact.
Smokes one deep to right center field. Forget about that one. Freeman has hit a long home run, his first in the big leagues.
Fast forward to today, and Freeman is the longest tenured Brave on the club, and now he's the one surrounded by top prospects.
I feel like I've been one of the older guys for a while here. We got some dynamic young guys. You need young guys, you need them to produce to be able to win.
While the influx of young talent has garnered most of the attention, Freeman is quietly putting up MVP-like numbers.
That one is long gone for Freddie.
He is on a tear.
I played with a lot of impressive hitters. Freddie Freeman, he's the best hitter right now in the game. I'm luckily fortunate to be able to be on his side.
He's got a swing that you don't necessarily teach. It works for him, and he's probably one of the most impressive hitters I've been around.
Yeah, I'd say it works for him. Take it in, you guys. We are seeing Freddie Freeman in his prime, and we're going to hope that that continues tonight, because the Braves need a win as they take on the Diamondbacks in Game 2. It's going to be Zach Greinke taking on Braves' Sean Newcomb. We have Game 2, D-backs and Braves, with Paul Byrd and Chip Carey coming up next.
And the Atlanta Braves. Arizona won their 52nd game last night. 2-1 was the final score. They're still a half game out of first behind the surging LA Dodgers. Torey Lovullo is the Arizona skipper. His Toyota starting lineup looks a little different tonight. David Peralta gets the start in left. Nick Ahmed moves up to second. Paul Goldschmidt third. Pollock, Souza, Marte. They have an interesting outfield rotation working. Chris Owings gets the start at third base. Mathis and Greinke, a very good battery, and hopefully very good, Paul, will be the way we describe Sean Newcomb's 19th start today.
Well, let's hope so. And you see those numbers this season. Those are very good numbers, Chip. But as you know, over the last month, he has struggled a little bit. The Braves trying to decide if he needs to adjust and make a change or if it's just simply location. The hot start in New York, we couldn't grip the ball. We'll see if he makes any changes today.
First time Sean has faced the Arizona Diamondbacks. What does he have to do to get the Braves in the win column today?
So my old pitching coach, Leo Mazzoni, used to say, go strike one to make these things work. He said that before every pitcher's meeting. He said if you do that, the scouting report will play into your hand. And then secondly, Chip, strike one. He needs to throw strike one to make these things work. If you think I said the same thing, I did.
Yeah.
It's very important today. He is 80 out of 83 pitchers in percentage of throwing strike one, and when you're behind in the count, you can't get your stuff to work as effectively.
And his first pitch, a fastball off the plate. It is ball one to David Peralta. 85 humid degrees in Atlanta. As that one missed up and away again, ball two. Your point about strike one is so important, Paul, because number one, as you said, the hitter doesn't hit the pitcher's pitch, but it takes Sean so many pitches to resolve at bats that it piles up his overall pitch count. And as a result, he struggles to get past the fifth inning as frequently as the Braves would like.
He did. It's very important. You're going to see Tyler Flowers. I was talking to him earlier in the locker room. He's going to sit more middle today instead of putting the glove on the corner, and they're not going to try to go up as much early. They'll try to do that in later innings. But with that good curveball, he pitches off the high fastball. They're going to try to hold off on that a little bit to try to get in the head in the count more.
3-1 the count, and that's up and away. Ball four. Newcomb with 107 walks since his debut as a big league pitcher. That's the third most in the major leagues, and he's automatically in the soup. A leadoff walk to the Arizona left fielder. So Nick Ahmed, the shortstop. Ahmed 2 for 4 last night with an RBI. And a double and a single. That seventh inning single, a blooper that was just out of reach of a drawn-in infield for the Braves. That earned him his 38th RBI, and Arizona the 2-1 win. Ball one.
Ahmed batting second today, moving up in that lineup. He has 12 home runs, and he's a big guy, Chip. So he's really trying to get his body into the swings more instead of that two-strike approach that he's had the last couple years, and it's been successful power-wise, looking to raise that average.
There's a good pitch at 93, evens the count to Nick Ahmed. You might recall he was a Braves farmhand sent to Arizona. Multi-player deal that brought Justin Upton and Chris Johnson back to the Braves. Ahmed finally healthy after 2 injury-plagued seasons in the desert. Part of a terrific defensive infield lineup for the Diamondbacks club. Ball two.
Braves pitching coach Chuck Hernandez, who we saw earlier, that's Torey Lovullo, but he's really talked about attacking early in the count. And when you see Flowers setting up down the middle or to a third.
Little cue ball hit toward Freddie. There'll be one play. Newcomb to the bag. Productive out for Ahmed. Peralta at second, one out.
So when you see that catcher sitting down the middle, at times it can look awkward because you're taught not to throw ball there. Throw the ball on the corner, mix your pitches. So when your catcher is sitting right down the middle, you're thinking, hey, it's not 3-2 and the pitcher's not up. So sometimes it can mess with your head a little bit, but they've been working on that, and they've just been talking about, hey, throw strikes, you're really good. And it's hard to hit up here.
But walks have got to be cut down on. Newcomb 49 walks coming in 99 innings. And Arizona has Peralta in scoring position for Goldschmidt. He's worn out lefties to the tune of 7 home runs this year. Good stop by Tyler. Ball one. '21 homers, 52 knocked in for the Arizona first baseman, who got off to a dreadful start. in the first 40 some odd games for the Diamondbacks. He has had a tremendous surge since. And he too an all-star for the Arizona club. Right there, a strike called, even count.
If you fall behind 1-0, you want your first 2 out of 3 to be strikes, so you don't panic and you say, hey, I'm behind 1-0. I'm going to locate 2 strikes right here and get the odds back in my favor.
First one of those from Newcomb, and it missed. 2 balls and a strike. To the pride of the Woodlands High School and Texas State University, Paul Goldschmidt. Arizona holds an option on his contract for next season. Goldschmidt also a Gold Glove first baseman. The pitch. Ball 3. So here we are. Sean's at 13 pitches. He's retired 1 hitter. And the Arizona cleanup man, A.J. Pollock, lurking on deck in a scoreless top of the first. And now full count.
Fastball up 87 miles an hour. Not great velocity, but it overmatched him. I'm talking to hitters and they say that Newcomb's ball is sneaky. It gets on you. Big guy, easy delivery, doesn't try too hard, easy like Sunday morning, and the ball just jumps out.
So the payoff pitch is way outside, and 2 walks for Newcomb in the first inning. And Pollock will be the hitter. Double play in order if Sean can get a ground ball here. And 2 are on, 1 out. Pollock played in 112 games last year. He missed 6 weeks with a strained right groin last season. And Newcomb throws strike 1 to his first hitter. Pollock was an all-star in 2015 for the Diamondbacks. Hit 20 homers, batted .315. Hasn't played a full year since because of all those injuries. And he's been injured a lot in his tenure with the Diamondbacks organization. Former first-round pick back in 2009. Broke his elbow in 2010. Broke his right hand in 2014. Broke his right elbow again in 2016. And then the groin issue last year.
Be careful standing next to that guy in thunderstorms.
Yeah, he's bad luck schleprock. Is A.J. Pollock. The pitch. And bounced off his foot foul. Now Sean's ahead of him, 1-2. A.J.'s a smart dude, though. He went to Notre Dame.
Huge pitch right here with first and second. You're ahead of the hitter 1-2. You have the big curveball option or the high heater. They talked about not going up early, but this is a situation where you may want to try to get the big strikeout or a pop up.
One ball, 2 strikes, 2 on, 1 out. Extended top of the first. And Flowers smothered that. 2-2. Pollock was born in Marlborough, Connecticut, so a couple of Eastern kids squaring off in this first inning. Newcomb's a Massachusetts boy. Pollock from Connecticut, where he played against Matt Harvey and George Springer in Little League action as a kid. And Newcomb's 20th pitch. Downstairs, another deep count, 3-2. 20 pitches, 7 strikes. Steven Souza lurking on deck. Peralta walked, Goldschmidt walked, Ahmed grounded out in between, and now let's see how Arizona plays it here. The 3-2 pitch. The runners do not go, and that's ball 4.
You'll see Chuck Hernandez walking out to the mound here. You have bases loaded with 1 out. This is tough. The game plan going in was get ahead of the hitters, strike 1. We're going to sit more middle. We're going to work the ball down instead of up. But Newcomb unable to control or command any of the pitches, has good velocity, has good break on the curveball today, just simply cannot locate it where he wants to.
But those secondary pitches, Paul, have to work because he's throwing his fastball for strikes. And if there is one pitch that we have seen Sean, not even during this rough patch, but even when he's pitching well, at times his fastball command is real scattershot, and that leads to long, prolonged innings and sometimes big problems.
Yeah, one of the things I learned from Kurt Schilling, which was taught to him by Johnny Padres, was you have to have a pitch in the game that you go in that you know you can hit that spot 8-9 times out of 10, whether it's fastball down and away, fastball in, and you have to work on that in the bullpen and make sure as a starter when you come in, if none of your other pitches work, you have that one pitch that you can guarantee will be a strike.
So let's see what Souza does here. 3 Diamondbacks have walked, and Newcomb, after the pep talk, gets the down and away strike called. 0-1 the count. Souza had a couple of hits last night, a double and a single. Injury plagued year for him already. Oh, you look at him take his stance. He is a replica of Paul Goldschmidt. Now he's ahead 0-2.
Newcomb's velocity creeping up a little bit here in the first. Bases loaded. Adrenaline starts to run a little bit. Velocity going up to 96. Now after that high fastball, you can now throw a curveball if you want that starts in the same location, and it'll be tough to read.
That's exactly what he tried, and Souza fought it off. So the count 1-2. Souza a couple of trips to the disabled list with a torn pectoral muscle. That's why he has such modest offensive numbers. Arizona glad to have him back, glad to have Pollock back. As I said, they have a lot of really exciting outfield options on their lineup card. The pitch is stepping away. Mike Estabrook has the plate. The 2-2. So from 0-2 to a full count.
This is his 3rd straight full count. Laboring a lot of pitches. This can be seen, you know, as a tough situation, but you can get a ground ball right back to yourself at the mound. You're out of it. You can get the double play. There's a lot of good options. Just got to concentrate on making your pitch.
And it's lined over short and into left field for a base hit. Arizona plays him station to station. Souza with a 1-out single plates Peralta, and the Diamondbacks lead 1-0.
Change up over the middle of the plate up. Not a lot of action to it. I think he was trying to throw a strike and just fool him by the fact that he threw a changeup, but Souza was ready.
So here's Ketel Marte, the Arizona second baseman. He had it at bat last night, did not reach. A .240 hitter overall. And Newcomb now starting to throw strike 1 more consistently. That's 3 straight hitters that he's gotten ahead of. with the first pitch. Marte's 24. He's out of the Dominican Republic. He's been in the big leagues before with the Mariners. 73 games with Arizona last year. And 5 home runs last season, one of them an inside the park homer against the Braves. So Goldschmidt, Pollock, and Souza, the runners. A run in, 3 walks, and a single. Newcomb already 31 pitches. And this one a little pop. That should be an infield fly. It is. Marte broke his bat, and there's a big second out. So Newcomb's an out away from getting out of a giant first inning mess. But he's got Chris Owings to deal with. He's the Arizona third baseman. Breaking ball, strike.
2 first pitch strikes by Newcomb back to back on the breaking ball. He's starting to locate that better. I agree with you, Chip. If he gets out of this, this would almost feel like a momentum change because it could have been so much worse. We'll see what happens.
Sean continues out of the stretch and bounced foul. He's got him 0-2 now. Sean has what he likes. Now the 0-2 pitch. He is off the screen and out of play. Well, look, Newcomb wanted to have a great outing today. He still could.
Right.
But with 35 pitches on a blistering hot day, it's going to take some real efficient work for him to get through 5 innings in this one. And you don't want to give that man much more latitude than a run if you can avoid it. Zach Greinke awaits his fate, and the breaking ball of beauty struck him out, and all in all that could have been disastrous. Instead, Newcomb found a way to limit Arizona to 1 run in a 17-minute top half of the first inning. They left him loaded. Greinke to the mound, leading 1-0. We had him on the ropes and couldn't knock him out. Let's see if Atlanta can get something going with this Toyota starting 9 featuring Ender, Ozzie, Freddie, and Nick, the top 4. Flowers, Acuna, Flaherty gets a spot start at third base against a tough right-hander. Swanson, Newcomb against Zach Greinke, who is headed to the All-Star game again, Paul. An accomplishment, he said, is his most meaningful All-Star selection in his career.
He has come through again this year. You see the walk to strikeout ratio, very, very good. Low ERA. Now he's lost 5 times, so we'll hope to tack another one on. But he is very fun to watch. He's going to mix his pitches, throw a lot of different styles and some pitches that you may rarely see, like the eephus changeup. His curveball can be from 78 to 83. Can throw 95, or he can throw fastballs at 88. But a little bit of everything, and location is outstanding.
And that's, I think, the excellent point. You talk about contrasting pitching styles at the stages of their careers. Well, Greinke has walked 23 men in 114 innings. Newcomb's walked 52 in 101 innings.
And when you know a pitcher is going to throw strikes, the hitter is going to go up there ready to swing. You know, I don't want to wait and get behind on this guy because he's probably going to throw a strike, so they will start to swing earlier. You talked about Newcomb needing to be efficient with his pitches, as we see the strikeout on the outside corner right there, a hair off. That's one of the things that helps you, is throwing strikes makes you more efficient, because the hitters are ready to swing just off the outside corner, but good enough for strike 3.
Yeah, that was held well by Mathis. Well presented, and Ender's rung up. Ozzie Albies the batter. Ozzie having a great homestand, 5 for 12. Had his 8-game hitting streak snap yesterday. Let's see if he can start one this afternoon. Another strike.
Those last 2 pitches are off, but similar to Maddox, if they're only off by an inch and you keep hitting the spot and then you hit the corner and then it's an inch off, that's really tough for the umpire to say, well, you know, that was an inch off and that was right on. So you'll start to get the benefit of those calls. Contrastingly, if you throw the ball off the top of the backstop and then you hit the outside corner, you may not get it because you're all over the place.
And Greinke's a smart enough guy to know that, okay, if he's going to get that corner, if the hitter starts swinging at that, missing it, he can then take the ball a little further outside. Hitter expands the zone, which makes his life even easier. And there's that expanded strike zone. Ozzie didn't get that. That ball was darting away from him. Greinke's got 2 up, 2 down, 2 strikeouts.
This is the changeup split. So he holds it like a split finger. Freddie Freeman was talking about this, that it's hard to pick up because it's only a few miles an hour off his fastball. So he throws the eephus slow changeup, and then he'll throw the split change that's just 4 miles an hour slower than the heat.
Yeah, so you said Greinke's a fun guy to watch. That's spoken like a man who doesn't have to stand in the batter's box and try to figure out all this stuff he can throw at you. Greinke is 3-1 lifetime against the Braves. Last lost to Atlanta in 2013. And in July, his last 14 games on the road, he's 10-0. Atlanta's got their hands full as Freeman digs in with a shift on, and Greinke missed. Ball 2.
There's that fastball that is 1 inch off the outside part of the plate. Didn't get it that time, and you can see the shift on for Freeman. Talking to Freeman earlier today, he said he loves when that shift is on. He said it forces him to hit the ball to the left side of the field, go the other way, and that is what gets him right.
And with that in mind, the Diamondbacks have 1 man standing on the left side of the infield, playing with a shortstop normally would be. As Greinke to work, the 3-1 pitch. And Freddie pokes it over the shift into right field. He went out and hooked it. So there goes the no-hitter for Greinke, with Freeman aboard with a 2-out hit, and Nick Markakis is coming up.
This is the 3-1 changeup to Freeman, down and away, and he goes and golfs it. That is beautiful. Chip, that is my 9-iron right there.
Yeah?
I got a little Jim Furyk in me. some
Nice.
bad form, but make good contact and get the job done.
So let's see if Atlanta can put together a rally with 2 outs. Nick Markakis riding a 6-game hitting streak. He's got 10 hits in that stretch. Nick with 118 hits this year. And yet another multi-hit game for Atlanta in game 1. Short lead at first for Freddie. And in for a strike. This will be a great matchup. 2 veterans getting after it. Nick Markakis, the Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot feature, and a guy that's real tough to strike out.
Never ever gives up an at bat, regardless of the score, regardless of how he's feeling or the pitcher. He is always focused, and the pitcher is always in for a dogfight.
And a swing and a miss. 1-2 the count. Greinke was originally a Kansas City Royal. Then he went to Milwaukee. How about this deal? Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar, Jake Odorizzi, Jeremy Jeffress, all involved in that deal. Back up the middle, and Greinke, an excellent defensive pitcher, takes care of Markakis, and the Braves are out of luck in the first. 1-0 Arizona.
The second inning, and before the game, Brian Snitker told us that Peter Moylan on Tuesday was going to go to Gwinnett and start his rehab assignment. Well, about an hour and a half ago, the Braves tweeted out that Arodys Vizcaino has been placed back on the 10-day DL with that same right shoulder inflammation he struggled with just a couple of weeks ago, and the corresponding move, they ended up bringing Peter Moylan back. Now we're going to have to talk to Snitker after the game because we're not sure when Arodys Vizcaino started feeling any discomfort. He last pitched on Wednesday. He warmed up last night as if he were to pitch. Today he was out on the field working out, so stay tuned to Braves Live postgame because we'll make sure to figure out exactly what happened, guys.
Okay, Kelsey, thank you very much. And that's a concerning problem. It stands to reason. Vizcaino, one of the closers on the ball club, he has been to the DL already once this year. The Braves have tried to be very judicious in the way they've used him. And now he gets to the ballpark an hour before the game and says, I can't throw. That's obviously not good. And for a club that, as we know, has bullpen issues, that's another arm short for Brian Snitker at the end of the game should the Braves have the lead. Jeff Mathis pops it out of play, and Newcomb gets ahead of him. No balls, 2 strikes. Sean endured a 17-minute, 36-pitch first inning. Gave up 3 walks and a base hit, but only 1 run. So he needs to work economically and quickly, too. And a ground ball to short. And that's off the heel of the glove, but catcher running saved Swanson there. Mathis retired, 1 out.
Newcomb's location has been much better. The end of the first inning, he started to settle in and locate all of his pitches. That a fastball down and in. Swanson sticks with the play. It's all going to come down to location with him today. Now he's doubled the amount of changeups that he's thrown from last year, which has really helped him have a good year. But he is now going to have to throw that curveball for strikes, mix in that changeup, and I think we'll see the Sean Newcomb we saw early.
Good hitting pitcher Zach Greinke up there. He's got 10 hits this season, batting .294 for the year. Greinke also has 3 stolen bases this year. Newcomb got that called a strike. It's 0-2.
Some of you may not know this, but Zach Greinke, good athlete, went through a little bit of a social anxiety time where he really struggled. Part of that was that he really lost his love for the game of baseball because he had to give up hitting. And some thought he could have been a first rounder as a shortstop. And there were certain things that he was no longer having fun coming to the field, started struggling socially. Took the right medicine that he needed. Why am I bringing this up? Because over the last 10 years, he's been one of the best pitchers in the game, with a second to Clayton Kershaw winning percentage.
Yeah, he went to rookie ball with the shortstop's glove and had a workout, and then flipped his glove to Andres Blanco and said, nope, I'm done. I'm going to pitch. You take over. I'll do my work from the bump in the center of the diamond. And the rest, they say, is history, as this one's driven toward right. Good distance, but into the seats, foul. And Greinke, really throwback player in so many ways. Throwback National League player. Can do it all. Fields his position well, hits well, pitches very well. One of 3 pitchers all time to win the Silver Slugger, a Gold Glove, and a Cy Young Award. The other 2 to do that were Fernando Valenzuela and Oral Hershiser. And like those other 2, Greinke also pitched for the LA Dodgers. We were very happy to sign him as a free agent. All Greinke did in a Dodger uniform was go 57-17 in Los Angeles. Became a free agent. Arizona then signed him to a deal that takes him through the 2021 season. And Greinke's going to make over $34 million each of the next 3 seasons. And he hammers that ball down the line and just missed a double. 1-2.
People talk about the DH versus letting the pitcher hit for himself, and I think this is one of the occasions where if you have a good athlete, somebody that can handle the bat, there's a reward for you, and there's something to be said for that.
Sean's about to make his 8th pitch to the Arizona pitcher. 1-2 count. And a swinging bunt right out in front of the plate. Greinke didn't run, and Flowers tags him out. So Newcomb's retired the last 4 in order. We go back to the top, and here's David Peralta. Told the story about Peralta last night. He was a pitcher in the Cardinals system before he suffered through a couple of shoulder problems, including a torn labrum. And he had to go back all the way down to the lower rungs of the minor league level and learn how to hit. And he has done that. He's been a real good player. Was called high on the inside corner. It's 0-2.
I like the Sean Newcomb I'm seeing right now, commanding all of his pitches, going right after the hitters.
Did you ever have first inning things?
Yes. And if it's continual, it's called the yips, where you start to get really fearful and you pitch not to lose instead of to win. You try to make everything perfect. You start thinking too much.
And smacked towards center. Ender broke back. Now comes Gallup again to make the play. And Newcomb looks like a different guy after that rough, long first inning. 1-0 Arizona in front early. Make sure you're following our Braves only Twitter account at Fox Sports Braves to catch every exclusive moment. One nothing Arizona. Tyler Flowers, Ronald Acuna, and Ryan Flaherty are due up for the Braves in the second inning. Much better second for Sean Newcomb. 15 pitches, 14 strikes against the Diamondback offense. He's now set down 5 straight. Tyler Flowers hitting .236 on the year. Takes a look at Greinke and takes a strike. Tyler's had good luck against him. Small sample size, but still he's 4 for 7 head-to-head in his career.
You'll see that front leg lift when Tyler Flowers gets ready. That's his timing. That's his mechanism to get things going. It's very important that you get that front foot down against a guy that has a number of pitches, because you need to get a longer look to help you identify what it is. Like that 90 beat him right there.
Yeah, Greinke was very concerned this spring when he talked about his velocity. He was struggling to get the ball in the mid-80s. And he said, I don't know if I'm ever going to get anybody out. Well, he figured that out pretty quickly and trying to win his 10th game in the first half today. And he just struck out Flowers. 3 strikeouts among Greinke's 4 outs. And that's how the home second starts. 1 away.
And 90 miles an hour is good enough. When it's located well, it's sneaky, it's got a little life, as you see right there. It is good enough to get major league hitters out.
Isn't that funny? I think you summed up the state of the game in that sentence very, very succinctly, Paul. There's so much velocity and so little command that when you see a guy like Greinke throwing 90 miles an hour and putting it through the eye of a needle, look what he can do to pretty good major league hitters.
I had a scout go watch a college player one time that I was working with, and he had an above average major league breaking ball. They rate on a scale of 20 to 70. It was a 55.
Broken bat. That's hit to Owings at third. And he's tossed across close, and they just got him. Ronald almost beat that.
On the scale, it's 20 to 70. 50's major league average. So he'd have 55 to 60 major league breaking ball. Left-hander, 6'2", 215, good build. But he only hit 90 on the gun. And the scout said, I can't turn him in. He was a lefty, too. And I said, why? And he said, Paul, a left-handed reliever has to throw 92 for me, regardless of how good his breaking ball is. Our organization will not let us turn him in.
Flaherty gets the start at third and bangs the first pitch to first. And Greinke has an easy 1-2-3 second inning. 1-0 Diamondbacks. We're off to the third. United States Army with great distinction. Fought in the Battle of the Bulge as a combat engineer. Missed the 1943 through 1945 seasons while serving in World War II. 17 All-Star game appearances. Made it to the Hall of Fame in 1973. 363 wins and the winningest left-hander. Warren Spahn, who once had a 23-7 season at the tender age, Paul, of 42.
Incredible pitcher. Always worried about upsetting the timing of the hitter. That's what he preached. Had an incredible screwball. Great competitor. And when Yogi Berra caught him, they put the microphones in front of Yogi and said, "Yogi, is this the best battery that's ever been assembled?" And he said, "I don't know if we're the best, but we're definitely the ugliest."
As only Yogi could say it, right? Nick Ahmed leads off the third inning, 1-0 Arizona. And Newcomb misses up and away, ball 2. 53 pitches for Sean now. 14 out of 15 strikes in the second inning. And that's turned on and yanked down a play left side. 2 balls and a strike.
And before Ahmed, his last 5 batters have been outs. 3 balls, 20 strikes. So it's all about command for Mr. Newcomb. His stuff is better than average and more than good enough.
That's popped up into right and playable for Nick Markakis. And he's got that for the first out. Clouding up here at the old ballpark. Lights are on to try to help the combatants on the field. For the fans and players alike, that cloud cover, I'm sure, Paul, is a welcome relief from this heat and humidity that's been baking Atlanta the last couple days.
Absolutely. And even the Braves with some tough trips recently to St. Louis, which I think is the hottest place on earth, and New York that had a heat wave coming through.
Paul Goldschmidt takes a strike. It's 0-1. Up the middle. Braves shifted on Goldschmidt, and Ozzie with the play. 7 up, 7 down. And he's getting some quick and easy outs. That's going to help him.
That was beautiful. That was the changeup right there that he has thrown twice as much this year as last year. Over 20% last year. Threw it about 10 to 11. He's mixed that in more, and that is a difference maker, because if you're sitting for the heat and you see something that looks just like a fastball and is not, you'll get a miss hit right there, just like Goldie. How about our guys in the Fox truck with the StatCast going?
Just missed to A.J. Pollock, who's greeted with the greatest walk-up music in baseball history. A.J. Pollock did not attend the University of Georgia, but David Pollock did, and that's where the clever connection for Matthew Kaminsky comes in. As A.J. takes a strike, 1 ball, 1 strike, your count.
Matthew Kaminsky, our organist, has some serious game. Always makes me laugh once or twice.
The pitch is popped up right side of the infield. Freddie backs up, and this will be a 9-pitch third inning. So the law of averages beginning to benefit Sean Newcomb. He's only given up 1, and he's due second in the third. Newcomb and Ender Inciarte are coming up against Zach Greinke. Greinke's thrown 24 pitches in his first 2 innings of work. Dansby at 245, 7 homers, 34 knocked in. And that's taken high, ball 1.
Little better numbers this season. I think the difference has been slider recognition and his ability to hit a good slider. But I think he'll tell you he'd like that average to come up more. And didn't play in the minors too long, so he is another one of those guys that is learning the pitchers up here at the big league level.
Well, every time the Braves play the Diamondbacks, you think back to that unbelievable haul that Atlanta got from Arizona for Shelby Miller. Dansby Swanson, Ender Inciarte, Aaron Blair. Principals that came back in that deal. Shelby Miller and Gabe Spire went to the Diamondbacks before Christmas Day 2015. Read in the Arizona newspapers today that the initial prognosis for Shelby Miller and his elbow problems, that nothing structurally wrong that they can tell at the moment, which is good news. Shelby trying to come back from Tommy John surgery, and he's been hit hard his first couple of games back. And all guys I've talked to about that injury say, you know, they call it the Tommy John breaking ball. It comes out of your hand, it feels great, but it doesn't do what it did because all those muscle fibers don't have the memory that they used to. So hopefully Shelby will make it all the way back. As Dansby shoots one into left field, a base hit. So Atlanta has the leadoff man aboard. Swanson's first hit of the series, and that'll give Newcomb a chance to bunt him over. And this is going to be interesting.
After 2 sliders away, he tries to come in with the fastball, hits his spot, but Dansby does not miss a fastball with no action on the inside part of the plate. Nice job turning on it.
So this will be a real challenge for Zach Greinke. Since 2015, there have been over 1,900 bunt hits in Major League Baseball. Greinke's allowed none. In fact, nobody's even tried to bunt against Zach Greinke. And this might be the first time he's faced an opposing pitcher with a runner at first and less than 2 outs all year. There's a great article written by Sam Miller about this on June 26th online, and it talked about the cat-like quickness that Greinke has and how he can manipulate his delivery and how he can read the hitter's intentions at the point of contact to snuff out those would-be sacrifice bunts. But think about it. He's so good, nobody's tried to bunt against him for a hit. Newcomb took one high there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think Nuke twitching his head right there. Wishes he would have had that one back. Fastball on the outside part of the plate. And you don't have to do anything too special here. You don't have to bunt the ball right down the line because he's a better fielding pitcher. You have third base charging. Owings coming in. I think you can just put the ball down and let him make the play.
There's the bunt. And it's a beauty. A successful sacrifice for Newcomb, who helps himself his 5th of the year. That is a well-earned sacrifice. Swanson at second, 1 out.
Way to go, big fella. Got a way to help yourself right there. Those legs are bent. Good form. Keep the pitching hand out of the way.
And just to finish the note on Greinke and the bunt thing, you know who the last guy to bunt successfully against him for a hit was?
Who was that?
Another pitcher, Matt Cain. So it's there for the taking for Ender Inciarte, who struck out his first time up. And that's taken a little low. Ball 1.
I thought you were going to tell me Julio. See Nuke getting a little breather. He's got the rocket fuel. He's shaking it up. This has turned into a pitching matchup, which I love.
Line drive headed toward the gap. It's got to be caught, though, by Peralta. Now it's a scramble back to second for Dansby. That ball was tailing back toward the left fielder. That's a tough break. Ander put a good swing on it, but he's retired for the second out. Now Ozzie is the man here at center stage. Albee struck out swinging his first time up.
I like this matchup though, Chip, because Ozzie hits the ball down well, especially middle to middle end. Greinke throws the ball down most of the time. He may throw that little changeup, that fader away, but this is a good matchup for the Braves.
So last night, Paul, the Braves went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They're 0 for 1 so far today, and I think it's safe to say that over the last week or so, the Braves have had their chances to score runs. They haven't gotten many big hits, and they haven't really had productive outs.
Well, coming into yesterday's second in the league in scoring runs, so you can't stay hot all the time.
Bouncing ball to first, bad hop, but Goldschmidt stayed with it, and that is going to end the inning. So a sacrifice for naught for Atlanta. Albies rolls out, still 1-0.
SunTrust Park, an American classic movie. They're going to be showing it after the game. They gave away an incredible Ham Porter bobblehead. And you guys, this is the brains. He is the brains behind this movie. This is David Mickey Evans. And David, you were the writer, the producer, the director. You did it all for this movie. That is incredible. But 25 years ago, this movie came out. Whenever you were starting this all, could you have ever imagined that it would have become what it has become?
No, there's no way to know that. If there was any way to know that, back when we were shooting this picture in '92, I would have bottled that and sold it, and we wouldn't be sitting right here because I'd be on an island somewhere, okay? But now, I'll tell you this, though. You make 3 pictures. You write a picture, you shoot a picture, and you edit a picture. This one, when I wrote it, I thought it was funny, so that's cool. When we shot it, though, with all the boys, we had such a great time making this picture that there was ever indication that, hopefully the audience would like it. They would enjoy watching it as much as we. Go Braves! Sweet! Enjoy watching it as much as we had fun making it. That's about as much as you can hope for.
Yeah. Now, I think everybody has seen the movie Sandlot, and if you haven't seen the movie Sandlot, the second our post-game show ends, you need to go watch it. But tell me about how you came up with the storyline behind it.
Good question.
So we'll take this one. Timmy and Tommy. It all started with Timmy and Tommy.
It did.
Right?
And
These are Timmy and Tommy from Sandlot.
I met Shane Obazinski and Vic Damascia when they were 10 years old, and I go, God, I got to put them in a movie. No, that's not how it happened. Here's how it happened. My little brother and I, when he was about 9, I was about 10 or 11, we lived on this street in Southern California, the northeastern San Fernando Valley, and there were a bunch of bullies. They'd never let us play with them. And one day, they hit their baseball over a brick wall at the end of the block into this backyard where there was a vicious dog. Everybody knew about it. Neighborhood legend, but it was real, named literally Hercules. And I wasn't with him at the time because I used to take care of him. And he went over the wall to get the ball, and the dog bit his leg up. Here's the deal. For 25 years, I've been asked that question, okay? And I love answering that question. But right now, weirdly enough, for the first time ever, my little brother is sitting right here, and he's the kid that went over the fence. So ask him how it went.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, now the movie was written on a story about something that happened to you. How cool is that?
Let me tell you, it's awesome. And when it came to me, I got goosebumps because the producer of the movie asked me, or actually she said to me, thank you for inspiring a movie I could produce. And then I, again, got goosebumps and said, didn't know what to say, but thank you. And then I said, well, thanks for producing a movie I inspired. I didn't know what else to say because, well, when you're a kid, you do those things. So what was really cool and what was really bad at the same time was you want to make friends, you want to be the good guy in the neighborhood, and then you go over the fence to get a ball, right? Into unknown territory. And that's what happened. And then 20 some odd years later, this knucklehead writes a movie, and here we are 45 years later.
I mean, this is so cool, and we're so excited to have you here. And on behalf of everybody, everywhere, thank you for creating, I mean, such an incredible movie. We enjoy it so much. It's going to be shown here after the game tonight. David, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the Braves game. Hopefully they can pick up a W.
Thank you for having us. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Chip and Paul, we'll get it back up to you guys.
Okay, Kelsey, good job. And it is a great movie.
Oh.
We'll be showing it after the game on the big screen, weather permitting. And yeah, that's one of the classic baseball flicks.
I think anybody that played stickball or wiffle ball or just neighborhood baseball, the tennis ball baseball, has stories like that. It was wonderful to hear that parts of it were true.
1-0 pitch as Jeff Mathis launches one toward Acuna in left. That's over his head. It's high off the wall. It ricochets back toward the infield. Owings is going to score, and Arizona will take a 2-0 lead. Sean had set down 10 straight. Owings with a single, Mathis with a double now. And it's 2-0. Braves are fortunate that stayed in the park. It hit right off the top of the wall. Arizona's had a couple of those in this series already.
Fastball that just crept back down and in. Mathis, a good fastball. Hitting catcher. Drives the ball off the left field wall. He's a defensive catcher primarily, hits below 200, but that was in the nitro zone.
So his 10th RBI. Greinke will be cleared here. But don't take him for granted. He's thinking about adding to the lead. He bounced out a little tapper right in front of the plate. Didn't run and was tagged out by Tyler Flowers.
Greinke grounded out in the second, but got the first pitch breaking ball from Newcomb. Man in scoring position, Mathis at second, so there's some respect there.
Two runs, 3 hits for Arizona. No runs, 2 hits for the Braves. And this one hit to straightaway center. Ender hardly had to move. I mean, maybe a step to his right. That was something. But Arizona with a 2-out rally, a single and a double. After 3.5, they're up 2-0. Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis, two Atlanta All-Stars. Tyler Flowers will face off with Zach Greinke, who's thrown 37 pitches so far in the game. Freddie Freeman has always enjoyed hitting against the Arizona Ball Club. Let's hope that continues here. Freddie with a first inning single with 2 outs. Pretty good work in 41 career games against the Desert Denizens.
Greinke facing Freeman. Freeman golfed the changeup over second base earlier, 1 for 1. But if you are worried about him in the home run contest, he told Braves fans to me today, don't worry. He said, I got in the cage, and for the first time ever in my life, I tried to hit home runs in the cage. He said, what I will do differently is I am going to try to hit home runs to center field during the game, which is the deepest part of the park and not always the best strategy. But he said, I don't want to start pulling the ball. He goes, that's what gets me out of sync. So I'm going to try to hit home runs to the middle of the field and a little bit over. And he said, Paul, he goes, I don't know if you've checked my numbers over the last month, but maybe this will spark some power for me. I'm not worried about it. He tried that in the cage, and then he went back to hitting line drives over the shortstop, which is always his approach, and he said it was no big deal.
Yeah, and that's kind of an interesting point because the Braves haven't gotten a lot of power of late from their 3, 4, and 5 hitters on the lineup card. Part of that was that 3-week slump you mentioned for Freddie. He's starting to pick up his share of base hits. Freddie's last home run was July 1st in St. Louis. Nick Markakis, cleanup man, his last homer July 3rd against the Yankees. Tyler Flowers' last homer June 17th against the Padres. Two balls, 2 strikes, bases empty. Shift on for Freddie. And this one's going to be grounded into the shift. Marte dropped it, but no problem. Freeman's retired, 1 out. And here's Nick. He bounced back to Greinke to end the Atlanta first.
As a former pitcher in years past, I would have pitched around Freeman. Now, Freeman's had good numbers regardless, but as a pitcher, he would not have beaten me. Well, this year in particular, Markakis having a career year. But you look at the young guys that have come up. Acuna can hurt you at any time. Albies has been fantastic. So you're not dependent on that one player in your season, or the game is not dependent upon that one guy going 2 for 4 with a home run. So it's a much more balanced team this year, and I believe part of the reason of their success.
Strike 1 for Nick. Brings a .324 average into today's game. Wind picking up and blowing toward right. As Greinke skips one up there, it's an even count. Keep you up to date on the other action around the big leagues. The Phillies are in action again today. Phillies won 2-0 last night. They beat Miami in South Florida. Today it's Aaron Nola and Trevor Richards down in Marlins Park. This one's rifled on a hop down the right field line, foul. Good news. Miami leads Aaron Nola and the Phillies 2-0. That game's in the 4th inning. Phillies have won 10 of their last 13 games, taking advantage of their softer part of the schedule. Long road trip before the break for the Phillies, who start action a game and a half in front of the Braves in the division. Mets beat the Nationals 4-2 last night, and the Mets are beating Washington 3-0 again today. That's Austin Voth making his big league debut for the Washington club. Zach Wheeler's pitching for New York. Tanner Roark lost again last night. He's 0-6 since June the 6th. And that's maybe the biggest surprise of all, is how the Nationals starting pitching has really struggled since June the 1st. 2-2 pitch is guided foul. That almost picked off Brian Snitker. Braves will open up the second half with a 3-game series at Nationals Park beginning Friday night. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. There's that slow breaking ball. 69 miles an hour for Greinke. And Markakis couldn't time that, and he's the second out.
Well, that's what's tough when you throw your curveball or breaking ball 72 miles an hour, even 78 miles an hour, and then you come and you throw one in the upper 60s. It's very hard to time. It's like two totally different pitches. Yep. Couple that with the slider, he works the ball in and out, and you know, we have a very good pitcher too. But when you see this guy barely miss like that on all of his pitches the whole game and stay down, it needs to be called out, and it's something that some of the other guys like a Fulte or like a Newcomb, some of the younger pitchers, can take and appreciate and actually make them better.
Let's see what Tyler Flowers can do with an even count. He's our SunTrust confidence player. He too with good numbers against the Diamondbacks. The 1-1 pitch. And again, Sean Newcomb is not as experienced as Zach Greinke. He doesn't have the reputation. He doesn't have the resume yet. He very well could. But to your point about just missing, Greinke gets so many chases because he's around the plate. Sean hasn't gotten there yet. Well, he's pitched a lot better after a shaky first. To right. And playable for Souza. The wind pushed that out toward the warning track. And the Braves are out in order. And we head to the 5th.
The Braves 2-0. Well, we're locked in a pitching duel here. Yeah. What do I like about Sean Newcomb? He has a very good curveball and explosive fastball. Why is that important? Well, the curveball, you're on top of the ball and you spin it. It has forward action going towards home plate. The fastball, you pull back and you have the reverse action on the fastball. When he lets it go out of the same arm angle and he throws it up, belt high to a little bit higher, that curveball is going to drop in for a strike. The hitter has to decide within half a second whether or not it has forward, it's a curve, or whether it has backspin and that high fastball. We'll see if he starts to elevate today, get some pop-ups or strikeouts.
Well, he's been a lot more economical, Paul, after a long first inning that saw him throw 36 pitches. Sean now has thrown 73 total pitches, 15 in the second, 9 in the third, 12 in the fourth. So if he can have another economical inning or two, he could maybe take this thing into the 7th inning, which would be outstanding work considering the 17 minutes he was on the mound in the opening frame. Top of the order up for the Diamondbacks: Peralta, Ahmed, and Goldschmidt.
You see the fastball percentage. You always want to be above 50. 60% is ideal. You see that changeup up to 19%.
And after the first inning, he's throwing his fastball for strikes.
When his slider becomes more of a competitive pitch, that's what took Clayton Kershaw from a good pitcher to one of the best in the game, was mixing in that slider, a lot more strikeouts, and now hitters had to factor in 4 pitches. I'm getting greedy. Newcomb's having a very good year, but the more he involves that slider and starts to command all of his pitches, look out.
Ozzie at second. Perfect throw. Peralta's retired, 1 out. Well, you said it best about Warren Spahn. Hitting is timing, pitching is destroying timing, right? Well, there was no timing to be destroyed for Sean in the first inning because he was spraying the ball all over the place at the plate. Now all of a sudden he's changing speeds, he's getting first pitch strikes, and now the hitters have to start guessing as to what's coming and what to do with that pitch.
And you want to be able to throw the ball up and in and down away to righties and lefties, so you have to be able to throw to 4 quadrants, I think, to be at your best. And if you're a 2-pitch pitcher, that's taken away. If you only throw a high fastball and a curveball, which was more of Sean last year, then hitters are going to start to guess and eliminate one of those pitches, and they're going to be right 50% of the time, at least. And so you have to mix in all your pitches, hit all of your spots.
That's banged foul, and Flaherty with a nice play will retrieve the ball, and a fan comes away with a souvenir right behind the Arizona dugout. 1 ball, 1 strike. Skies are getting dark. The 1-1. This is not yet an official game. We've got to get through the home 5th. At the moment, Arizona enjoys the 2-0 lead. And that moves downstairs. 3 balls and a strike.
Goldschmidt on deck, as you can see. 21 home runs. You'd like to face him with the bases empty.
There's a good pitch, full count. And that's headed out of play to the right side, foul again. Braves had a huge crowd here last night. A record in the young history of SunTrust Park, 42,130. Might have that many here this afternoon for Sandlot Day. With the cloud cover, it's turned out to be a very comfortable afternoon, as that is called strike 3. Ahmed was on his way to first. He'll have to pick up the bat. He's retired on strikes and is 0 for 3. And he has a parting shot for Mike Estabrook on the way back to the Diamondback dugout.
This ball at the knees, bottom of the strike zone. I would have wanted it. Flow with the frame job. Mathis, another great framing catcher. The Diamondbacks think that they have the best defensive catcher in the league. I think the Braves may have something to say about that.
So Sean gets his wish. He's going to face Goldschmidt with nobody on. And 2 outs. Goldschmidt walked and grounded out to second. Diamondbacks in the National League West are neck and neck with the Dodgers. Arizona 1/2 game back. Colorado and the Giants 3 backs. That's a 4-team race out there. And everybody might be ruining the day. They didn't bury the Dodgers when they had a chance to. LA with an unbelievable June. All those home runs they hit. They got another one from Max Muncy yesterday. And they beat the Angels 3-2. Muncy on his way to the home run hitting contest. Dodgers had big news yesterday too. Chase Utley announced that he will retire at the end of the season. Terrific player, terrific career. And I'm told that every member of the Dodgers was at the press conference as a sign of respect for what Chase Utley has meant, not just to LA, but the Phillies and the game. That's high praise. 2 balls, 2 strikes for Goldschmidt.
One of my favorite videos of the year was when they showed Chase Utley signing for a young fan earlier who had cancer, and everybody was in the locker room watching that, and the young man that Chase Utley signed for ended up being a left-handed pitcher in their organization who was standing in the room.
Yeah, Dave Roberts brought him in and talked about what being a pro is, what being a role model is, what being a Dodger is, and the look on everybody's face when that young man walked into the room, and Chase Utley in particular, who's seen just about everything you can imagine in the game. He too had to pick his jaw up off the floor to go shake hands with that young man. Really a great story. The pitch is banged toward short. Dansby's got it, loads up, and Newcomb retires his man. Sean has thrown 91 pitches through 5 innings. Time for the Braves bats to get something going against Greinke. Against Zach Greinke, who's been staked to a 2-0 lead. Wind continues to swirl around the ballpark as the Braves facing Greinke a second time through the lineup here in inning number 5. 53 pitches for the Arizona right-hander, and that one cut on and missed at 89 miles an hour with a little cut to it. That pops away from Mathis, and the count evens 1-1. Right now the Braves are going through, there's no other way to describe it, just an offensive funk. The exception of Ozzie Albies, there really isn't anybody overly hot in this lineup. That includes Acuna, who's 5 for his last 27 with 11 strikeouts. So I think it's safe to say that, look, you somehow hope to win this game in the second half against Greinke. You hope to win tomorrow against another all-star Patrick Corbin, and then I think everybody's ready for the break. And you rev the engines back up, head to Washington, and jump right back into Eastern Division play with a series at Nationals Park and then down to Miami for 2.
And it starts pitch by pitch, as Acuna is doing it right now, getting into a 3-1 count, being patient, not trying to do too much or press.
Fly ball towards center. Pollock is there. And there's the first out.
But I like what you said. The temptation sometimes as a player is to say, yeah, we're struggling. We just need the all-star break to get here. It's got to get here, and then we'll be fine. Well, no, you have a really important series against the Diamondbacks, and you have to finish strong in September. Those 1 or 2 games that you could have won during the season where you were just flat, you think about that. You need to realize that right now.
Well, look, you have to play the schedule the way it lays out. And I think it's safe to say that when we talked about the Phillies having a soft part of their schedule, the Braves had one of those too and didn't really take advantage of it. The homestand against Cincinnati and Baltimore wasn't particularly successful. The last road trip, they got off to that great 4-0 start. But then you think of the bullpens the Braves faced of late. San Diego, excellent bullpen. Baltimore, excellent bullpen. Cincinnati, playing great at the time we played them. You know all about the Yankees bullpen. Milwaukee, overwhelmingly good pitching. Now Arizona with the best ERA in the National League among their relief corps. So when you couple facing those kinds of arms late in the game, number one, they're going to impact your offensive numbers. But even taking the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings out, Paul, wasn't really a ton of offense in the first 6 for Atlanta, which made coming back even more difficult against those really good arms for Brian Snitker's club.
And as I've said earlier, you can't stay hot the whole year. And you have to find ways to win those games where you're struggling a little bit, whether it be your pitching, your starting, the pen, or timely hitting, which the Braves have struggled with lately. But you have to find a way to win those games without everybody clicking. And that's the challenge today.
Ground ball hit towards second. Back-to-back 3-1 counts for Greinke, but he gets Acuna to fly out, Flaherty to ground out. And that's the second out of the inning. And for a Braves offense that's trying to find its way and get into some sort of rhythm, I would imagine there's nobody worse to face when you're trying to do that than a guy like Zach Greinke.
Right.
So 2 up, 2 down. Here's Dansby. He has one of the Braves' 2 hits. It was a leadoff single in the 3rd. Newcomb sacrificed him to second. Inciarte hit a ball to deep left center that Peralta tracked down. Albies bounced out to first, and that ended the Braves' lone scoring threat in this game. And that's downstairs. 1 ball, no strikes.
We'll see Greinke working down and away primarily to righties. He will throw the ball in too, but slider, curveball, cut fastball, all down and away. They may be a strike, they may not, but they're going to either bounce or they're going to be a little bit off, or they're going to be right on the corner. Mixing all of those pitches well.
That's off the plate, ball 3. He knows he's got the pitcher's spot due next. The Braves do have action in their bullpen. Shane Carl is up. If Dansby reaches, you might see Brian Snitker go to his bench. That's in for a strike. That's hit toward third. Nice play by Owings. He stretches out and throws a strike to first in time, and that retires the side. How about Greinke? He fell behind all 3 Atlanta hitters And nothing doing for the Braves in what's now an official game.
By your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. And by SunTrust. Confidence starts here.
Arizona 2, Atlanta nothing. We're through 5 here at SunTrust Park. Newcomb back out there for the 6th inning. He's got 4, 5, and 6 hitters coming up for the Diamondbacks. The MLB.TV All-Star Sale is here for $39.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, which lets you watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV to take advantage of this sale. .91 pitches for Newcomb through 5. 36 of those came in the first inning. I think it'll be interesting to hear his self-evaluation with Kelsey in the Braves locker room after the game. I think he's done an amazing job of giving the Braves a chance with some economical frames here. As this one's hit to the left side, Dansby positioned perfectly, and a long throw gets Pollock by a stride. 1 out.
Have you ever seen a Russian weightlifter?
Yeah.
They walk out to the stage, they lift the weight, they drop it, they walk off. Kind of robotic. That's what happens when I interview Sean Newcomb after the game.
Really?
Yeah. He walks over and he is like he's been here for 20 years. He gives me the Crash Davis kind of answers. Hey, good. Just want to help. I want to see him just one time say, God, I was so mad when I threw this here, but I can't get it out of him. Maybe I need you, who made Chipper Jones cry on the first question.
Well, you know, I respect the fact how stoic Sean is on the mound. We talk about that mound presence.
Absolutely.
That carries over in the locker room too, the place where fans don't get to see these guys operate. He doesn't look like a wide-eyed rookie anymore. Certainly doesn't act like one, and I mean that as a great compliment.
I agree. I think it helped him in the first inning today when he was struggling a little bit. Folty, more emotional, is going to wear his emotions on his sleeves. He knows that. Folty's going to tell me, hey, Paul, that's something I battle. I can't let the umpire take me out of the game. We're watching him grow up in a different way and controlling his emotions. I've enjoyed the process with a lot of these Braves pitchers who are good now and are going to get even better.
Out of play by Souza. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Blue sky off to our left. Dark gray skies off to the right. Hopefully the nicer weather will hold out the rest of the way here as we're in the 6th inning. Another chance for Dansby. That ball checked up. Got a convenient hop and another strike. 3 straight assists for the Braves shortstop. And two are out. Mentioned earlier the big trade Arizona and the Braves consummated involving Dansby Swanson and Ender Inciarte. Another big trade is starting to pay dividends that was made between these clubs. You might remember Atlanta took on the big contract of Bronson Arroyo and got Touki Toussaint in that deal. Touki Toussaint today was named to the world team for the All-Star festivities. Tuki's been having a terrific year in the minor leagues for the Braves. Just got promoted to AAA. So congratulations to Touki, the former Arizona #1 pick.
Looking forward to seeing him pitch up here someday. No guarantees, but he certainly has the stuff. Mid-90s fastball and a big hook and a tall, lanky frame. Congratulations, Touki.
Austin Riley back at AAA after his knee injury. Had a couple of hits yesterday for Gwinnett. Lucas Sims is pitching tonight. Lucas having a good year at AAA. Luis Gohara went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits. You heard Kelsey talk about that with Brian Snitker on Braves Live today. Braves trying to figure out how to put together their rotation after the break, and Gohara might figure into those plans. Much of that depends on how Mike Foltynewicz will be used by the National League squad at the All-Star game. At the moment, it looks like the most vexing, I don't want to use the word problem, but the most vexing situation is who's going to pitch the Tuesday game in Miami. The day game on the 24th. Braves then have an off day and then welcome the Dodgers to town to start a long homestand.
In Gohara last year, the end of the year, I was more impressed with him than anybody. He commanded the zone at 96, 97 miles an hour, went right at you. He looked like a young Sabathia.
That's trouble, headed for the gap and over the gap and over the fence. Ketel Marte has just hit a home run. So Arizona with a 2-strike, 2-out strike adds to their lead. 2 of their 3 runs have come with 2 outs. The 9th homer for Marte.
Changeup down and in. Unusual selection for the changeup on a righty. Marte gets a hold of it, and that was a line drive just enough. I did not expect it to leave the yard.
So that's going to be the last pitch thrown by Sean Newcomb. He throws 102 pitches over 5 2/3 innings. And Shane Carl's going to come in. Atlanta will have a double switch, flip-flop batting order here. Ryan Flaherty's going to come out of the game. We'll tell you about Shane Carl as Arizona now has extended their lead to 3-0. For Atlanta, first man in relief is Shane Carl. 37 appearances for Shane so far. And he will face Chris Owings, the Arizona third baseman. Speaking of third baseman, Johan Camargo, the new man at the hot corner for the Braves. He will lead off the bottom half of this inning and bat in the 9th spot for Newcomb, who went 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs. He walked 3, struck out 2. And threw 102 pitches, 36 of those in the first inning.
Owings with that big 2-out single, followed by a Mathis double in the 4th. Hurt a little bit. We'll try to stop that right now. I thought Newcomb threw the ball well. Only 4 hits. It could have been better early. I thought he grew up a little bit, learned how to locate quickly, and pitched a good game.
1 ball, 1 strike, bases empty for Owings. And that missed inside, ball 2.
Shane Carl, 26 years old, is one of 3 rookie relievers for Atlanta with at least 10 holds. No other team has more than 1. Tied for second on the team with 11 holds. AJ Minter, and Winkler leads with 17.
Yeah, he and Dan got off to unbelievably good starts. I mean, they were just mowing people down out of the Braves bullpen. And it's Braves bullpen that, if you just joined us, is without Arodys Vizcaino. He came to the ballpark today, and about an hour and a half before first pitch said his shoulder was bothering him. Braves put him on the DL and activated Peter Moylan. That one is served to the shortstop. Dansby's got it. Throw to first is in time. Dansby had all 3 assists. Marte with a solo homer. Time to get busy at the plate. 3-0 Arizona in front. Sitting 9-1-2 on the lineup card coming up for Brian Snitker. We hope you'll stick with us for the middle of the 7th inning. It's the stretch presented by Synovus, the bank of here. Zach Greinke, 10-0 in his last 14 road games in the month of July, has shut out the Braves on just 2 hits. He's thrown 69 pitches through 5 innings. And the first one on the ground to the shortstop. Tricky hop. And the throw to first by Ahmed is in time to get Camargo. 1 pitch and 1 out. So Greinke settled in. He set down 10 straight. Here's Ender. Ender came very close to getting this game tied in the 3rd inning. He hit a line drive toward the gap in left center. David Peralta cut it off on the fly, and that kept Dansby Swanson from scoring what would have been the game tying run. And that's taken low, ball 1.
Talking to Ender before the series, facing his former team, a lot of friends on the Diamondbacks. He says he has to get out there and Just try to relax and do what he's supposed to do and not try to do too much. Sometimes when you face your old buddies, you try to hit the 3-run home run or a homer every time. And he said, hey, I got to stay within myself. I still joke and text the guys. It's important to play well against everybody, but facing your former team, sometimes you want to show them what you got.
Two balls and a strike.
David Peralta was very complimentary of Ender from Venezuela as well, saying how much they really miss him in the locker room, how positive he is, how he is always talking to people, the energy that he brings to the field every day. Glad he's here in Atlanta.
Two balls, two strikes. And Ender swung late. That is 5 strikeouts for Greinke. 11 in a row retired. Again, there's nothing for the Atlanta hitters to eliminate from Greinke right now.
Oh, this is a fastball, 91 miles an hour, and it's down away at the knees. He has thrown the ball by guys many, many times today with 89, 90, 91. It's because he has an assortment of pitches. He has a good effective velocity, a nice, easy, slow motion. But velocity-wise, that ball is below average in Major League standards today. Starters throw between 92 and 93 miles an hour. I haven't seen that from Greinke today, but it might as well be 95 because it's beating everybody.
And he's throwing it within a dime's width of the catcher's target. I mean, he is just painting today. As that's up and away to the hottest Atlanta hitter, Ozzie Albies. Arsenova's greatness made here featured today. 18 runs over his last 17 games. And this one's hammered toward the gap in left center. Can anybody catch up? Yes. It's Peralta. He's got it. Greinke another 1-2-3 inning, this time in the 6th. 12 up, 12 down for the Arizona veteran. In the FIFA World Cup final. Coverage begins tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Well, the World Cup has been awesome this year.
Incredible.
Crazy finishes in so many of those knockout stage games.
Did you see France and Belgium and the passes that Mbappe was putting on everybody?
I didn't see that one. I saw Croatia in their game. Boy, that was exciting too.
He had one pass where he was running the other direction and kicked behind him, and it was perfectly placed in front of the goal.
That'll be great to watch from Moscow, Russia tomorrow. Jeff Mathis leads off. He's got an RBI double. and gets pushed off the plate. Ball 1. Really enjoyed Fox Sports coverage of the World Cup, especially the studio work of the guys in Krasnaya Ploshchad, otherwise known as Red Square in Moscow. 1-0 pitch is taken low. Ball 2 to Mathis.
Mathis' nickname on the Diamondback is the Master Craftsman. He is a defensive catcher. He did get a double today. He can hit, but he is in there for framing and, more importantly, pitch calling. Torey Lovullo praising him for his pitch selection and his ability to, when a pitcher gets out of sync, recognize it, make pitches to get him back in sync, knowing when to go out to the mound and help the pitcher out. He's been around a long time, was one of my catchers on the Angels, and is a great teammate.
Right there, a strike. Yeah, you're right. He was with the Angels, Toronto, Miami for parts of 4 seasons. Last year, his first in the desert with the Diamondbacks. And a pop-up out of play. If you can catch a long time in L.A. with the Angels with Mike Scioscia as your manager, who is as demanding of catchers as anybody in Major League Baseball, you know you're really good at your craft. Heard a story about Mathis and the Angels during spring training. Mike Scioscia would bring his catcher in after the inning and say, all right, take me through every single pitch that got thrown. Now you might have a 20-30 pitch inning, right? This one's banged foul past third. So Scioscia says, all right, come sit down. Not only tell me what you threw, what your thinking was behind every pitch. And so Scioscia's thought process was the pitcher's responsible for the ERA and the delivery of the pitch, but as a catcher you need to know what you're calling and why you're calling it to help him make his way through an inning. And that has served Jeff very well. As you said, excellent defensive catcher. Dansby off to the side, another ground ball to short. He's going to have to do some glove work. Maybe get the glove doctor. That thing's going to be worn out by the end of this game. Stay tuned for the middle of the 7th inning. The stretch presented by Synovus, the bank of here. The last 5 outs have been on ground balls to the shortstop.
Dansby's doing an outstanding job, and there's another one of our master craftsmen. As you can see, Sanchez talking to Julio Teheran. A big difference in his year this year, helping Julio out with the cutter and staying on track to home. I really love the Braves pitching coaches who are not territorial over that and allow the veterans to work with the players and everybody working together. So Chuck Hernandez, high praise. Guys out in the bullpen, Marty Clary and others who really, it's a good situation, a team atmosphere where, you know, 5 brains are better than 1, or an egomaniac who everything has to go through that guy.
Yeah, that's what we try to convince ourselves with that 5 brains are better than 1 thing with our producer Gretchen Caney. It doesn't seem to work too often.
She doesn't get it. No.
Gretchen at the controls today. Gary Lehman, our director. Jan Hartzog with us upstairs. Val Burrell, our stage manager. I think Brandon Culpepper's down in the truck today as well. B-dubs on stats. Great work from our Fox crew. Our final weekend before the All-Star break. 0-2 for Greinke. Bases empty, 1 out. And that skipped up there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dodgers host the Angels at 7:15 Eastern time tonight. Colorado hosts Seattle. Oakland visits the Giants. Cubs and Padres out on the West Coast. Braves are hoping the Marlins can hang on and knock off the Phillies. At last report it was 2-0 Miami. Nationals getting pounded at last report in New York. As Greinke's down on strikes. Good pitch by Carl. He's retired the first 3 he has seen. Michael Conforto's hit a 3-run homer. That young man Austin Voth making his major league debut. 7 earned runs in 4 1/3 innings. Thanks, Jan. And who would have thought right now, guys, that the biggest question mark for the Nationals is their starting pitching. You know that Scherzer's going to give you a chance to win every day. I think he's lost, but they have lost 5 of his last 7 starts. Hellickson's had trouble. Roark's had trouble. Gio's been beaten up. Voth today. And that's why the Nationals are hovering around the 500 mark. They lose today, they'll be under 500 at 47 and 48. Nobody saw that coming 2 days before the All-Star break. Peralta had a late swing. It's 0-2. Single runs for the Diamondbacks in the 1st, the 4th, and the 6th today. That has been more than enough for Zack Greinke, who has set down the last 12 Braves in order, and he's scattered just 2 singles. And the 0-2 is popped over short. That's going to get down for a base hit on an 0-2 count. So David Peralta has his first hit of the day. And Ahmed's going to be the batter. He's 0 for 3. Struck out looking last time and didn't like the late call by Mike Estabrook.
No, when that pitch was at the knees, I thought it was a strike. It could have gone either way. But in my opinion, too close to take, and a great frame by Flo.
Good call on the first pitch. Ahmed swung and missed. Strike 1. Hammered toward left center. Ender got a great jump though and got there to retire the side. 7th inning stretch. 3-0 Arizona.
Welcome to
Next idea for the lineup for the National League All-Stars.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked what he said about DeGrom too, but hey, he put Cakes down at 7th. That's okay. A lot of good players there, and you know, no easy outs across the board. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm all for whatever lineup works so that the National League wins the game. That's what matters to me. Although I will say some of the mystery and excitement of the All-Star game has changed with the advent of interleague play and so much more player movement, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, back in the old days, as Freddie grounds one foul at first, back in the old days there was real animosity between the American League and National League. There was, you know, real inferiority complex by the so-called junior circuit because they started play 20 years or so, 25 years or so after the National League got started. And back then it was a real badge of honor to win that game as Freddie hits one a mile high. Wynn might play a few tricks with this. And in center, Pollock makes the play. Freeman's retired and Greinke set down 13 in order. One away. I mean, what Ted Williams says one of his favorite moments, if not his overall favorite moment, was I think hitting a game-winning homer in the 1941 41 All-Star game. Well, that tells you what that game meant to guys in that era when you had the reserve clause, and unless you got traded to another team, you were staying with your club and in your league, and certainly no interleague play.
Well, you remember the collision with Pete Rose, which is now illegal, where he barreled over the catcher.
Yeah, Ray Fosse.
The famous play.
Markakis 0 for 2, 1 out, bases empty in the Atlanta 7th. Something bothered Greinke there, and he stepped off. First inning was his toughest inning. Freeman had a 2-out hit. After that, it has been precision for Zack Greinke.
You cannot do that out of the stretch, start and stop. Anytime out of the stretch, you have to exit the mound by stepping off the backside. In your windup with nobody on, you can stop at any point in the middle of it if something happens and it's not a ball.
Jan tells us that that famous, or from Ray Fosse's perspective, infamous collision at the plate in the All-Star game happened on this date in 1970. Back to the mound. Markakis off the end of his bat is retired. 2 up, 2 down. And sadly, Ray Fosse, who is off to a brilliant start as a major league catcher, was never the same after that All-Star game collision. And here's Tyler Flowers. Flowers struck out. He's flied out. So the Braves catcher 0 for 2 against Greinke. And called a strike. Arizona will hope that Andrew Heaney has a good game today. He's pitching for the Angels against the Dodgers out west. If this score holds and the Dodgers lose, Arizona would be in first place, and that's hammered into the corner. That'll be a ground rule double, a one-hop shot off the warning track for Tyler Flowers, and that's only the 3rd Atlanta hit.
We got action.
There we go.
How about that double from Tyler Flowers, getting us going here? That's his 6th double of the season. Really nice job pulling that ball down the line.
As we told you, Tyler's had good luck against Greinke. He was 4 for 7 coming in. That hit makes him 5 for 10. And now Acuna's the batter. Braves have 3 hits. 2 of the 3 hits have come with 2 outs in the game. Acuna has bounced out to 3rd. He's flied to center. A long one would make it a 1-run game.
Well, that's just it. The Braves players can hurt you in different ways. Acuna, one of them that can hurt you with the home run. So Mathis is going out there. He's given his pitcher Greinke a breather here in the 7th inning with 2 outs, just making sure they're on the same page, but also giving him some rest.
Runner at 2nd, 2 out. Official attendance just announced 40,862. We'll have another big crowd here tomorrow for the first half wrap-up. Braves have gone over 1.4 million in attendance. This is their 44th home date. Swing and a miss, even count.
Luke Jackson warming up down there in the pen, and there's Marty Reed, who I was talking about earlier, the bullpen coach. I believe the bullpen coach has a very important job. You're down there, you want to make sure your guys are in sync coming in the game. As you know, as we all know, the bullpen very important, and there's no room for error when a bullpen guy comes in. I've started, I've been a long man, I've been a setup man, even closed in the minor leagues, and when you come in out of the pen, there's no room to do what Newcomb did, which is come in and try to find all of your pitches and ease into the game. You can't do that coming out of the pen.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Nice stop. Mathis got just enough of that to keep Flowers at second base. And it's 2-2 for Ronald Acuna. Swing and a miss. 69-mile-an-hour curveball ends the Atlanta 7th.
And welcome back into our Fox Sports set here in the Battery Atlanta for this Xfinity game break. I'm Rebecca Capel. The first place Phillies continue their series down in Miami today, bottom first. Marlins up 1-2 outs, runners at the corners, and how about this? Former Brave Martin Prado hitting this RBI single to right. Brian Anderson will score. Marlins are up 2-0 right now. Chip and Paul?
That's something, Rebecca. Aaron Nola's turned into one of the best pitchers in baseball, not just the National League. And Paul, how many times do we see Martin Prado pick up hits just like that as a member of the Braves?
Getting the job done, also very clutch as he was in that first inning. And how about the 2-0 lead?
So Luke Jackson is on the hill. He'll go to work in the 8th inning. Jackson pitched an inning last night, struck out a pair of Diamondbacks in the 9th inning. He'll try to retire the 3, 4, 5 hitters here and give the Braves offense chance to do something with Zach Greinke. Right now that's been tough. And ball 1 down and away.
Luke Jackson has been a different pitcher since recalled. He's done a really nice job, and I especially like how he has gotten out lefties who are hitting 111 against him and righties just over 2. So it gives Snit the ability to use him in a long situation and get more than just a few outs.
2 balls, no strikes. There's a pretty pitch. Milwaukee kind of fading into the All-Star break. They just got beat today. 2-1 by the Pirates. Milwaukee's lost 4 games in a row. How does that team lose 4 in a row? Popped up right side. Freeman and Albies. It'll be Freddie who says he's got it. And he does. 1 out. Goldschmidt's retired. He's 0 for 3. And here's Pollock 0 for 2. A pop out and a ground out. So the Cubs at the moment back in front in the National League Central, a half game ahead of Milwaukee. Cubs play in San Diego later tonight. Cardinals 6.5 back. Can't figure out the St. Louis club. They're hovering around 500. They have not had a good year offensively. Defensively, they've struggled. And Mike Matheny coming under fire in St. Louis. Cardinals haven't made the playoffs in a couple years. And for the Cardinal Nation, that is a real big warning sign. St. Louis winning today, though, 2-0 at home over the Reds. Here it's 3-0 Arizona, 8th inning. And strike 1 to Pollock. Another pop up. This one, though, out of reach and into the seats.
And I'm not getting on Braves fans. I love Braves fans. I live here. I played for the Braves twice, but they're a little spoiled sometimes when you make the playoffs year after year and you start to expect that, and it's not that easy. And same thing with the Cardinals. A great organization that usually makes the playoffs. You get a little restless after there's a couple year drought.
No balls, 2 strikes. For Pollock, the pitch is fouled at the plate. Well, for for St. Louis, they've had to deal with the upstart Pirates the last couple of years. They've had to deal with Milwaukee this year. And the worst punishment of all is the success of the Cubs. That's going to drive them absolutely nuts. So that's going to be a fun race in the Central in the second half. If the Cardinals can right their ship, they're 6.5 back at the start of today's action. The 0-2 fouled away. And a ball and 2 strikes. Thunder rumbling off in the distance.
We saw the banners on the flagpole there with the 1995 world champions, and then we forget there's more banners on the other pole to the right of it. And it just continues with more years of success after years of success.
What I like about that light tower on the right that has the recent vintage of division championships and the like, if you scan down, keep going, look at all the room for new ones.
There you go. And we're going to throw the chop at you.
And that's past Camargo. Pollock with a 2-strike hit. Acuna in the corner is able to pick it up, and Pollock with a ringing double with 1 out.
Luke Jackson fastball gets too much of the plate. And Chip, he is not a sinker cutter type guy. He is a 95, 96. Here I'm coming right at you with 2 different types of breaking balls. Very effective, but when you have a ball that's 95 miles an hour that doesn't sink or cut, then you have to hit that spot.
So here's Souza. He has an RBI hit that came in the first inning. And this one's on the ground to first. Freddie's got it, and the runner to third with the second out. And Ketel Marte is the batter. Last time up, I think he surprised everybody in the park with a long home run.
He did, and this ball is down and in. He goes and gets it, and it's a line drive homer that gets out quickly.
There are the batter metrics. StatCast powered by AWS. Marte powers his way to his 9th homer and his 35th RBI. Two and 0. Mets 7, Washington 1, Miami 2, Phillies nothing. Both of those games in the 7th inning. Here it's 3-0 Diamondbacks. The pitch to Marte is pop foul and into the seats. 2-1.
Marte came off the bench last night and pinch hit, which is a pretty good pinch hitter. Coming off the bench with 8 home runs yesterday, added to that today. But Torey Lovullo does a really nice job of spreading it around, getting people in there. Pollock took the day off yesterday, but is in there today in the 4-hole. He's got some options, so he tries to keep all those guys in sync, and it's a good problem to have.
Pretty pitch.
I believe there's an art form to that, keeping everybody happy when you have good players and making sure that they are sharp when they come up to the plate, so that they haven't had 5 days off and start to question themselves or start to get in a rut.
2-2 pitch. Jim Leland was as good as at that as anybody I saw when I was days with the Cubs. He would every Sunday get guys like John Wehner into the game, and the reason for that was day game after night game, one part of it, but number two, he knew he might need John Wehner later in the week to pinch hit. Those 4 or 5 at bats he might get were incredibly important. And how about that work by Jackson? Marte caught looking, and Pollock left stranded at third base. Bottom of the 8th coming up. This one has been Zach Greinke, Mr. Bird.
He's been outstanding, and we have to give credit where credit is due. He is a fun pitcher to watch, but he has simply hit all of his spots. He has been down in the zone with all of his pitches. You see the slow curveball to Cakes, and then Ender again, fastball away, 89-90, overmatching people. A big strikeout to Acuna on the slow 67-mile-an-hour hook.
Well, Greinke does not have a complete game. He does not have a shutout this year, but he does have 121 innings pitched and 7 shutout frames so far today. Danny Santana pinch hitting for Luke Jackson, who gave up a hit in his inning of work. So it'll be Santana Swanson and Camargo coming up. "94 pitches for Greinke, and under very little stress." Early in the day, Paul, when it was so hot and sticky, you saw no perspiration on Zach Greinke. Not a hair out of place. No water falls off the bill of the cap. I mean, he's working hard, but if you get my drift, he has not had to work hard today.
Right. Not in too many jams, and a nice, easy, slow, and deliberate motion, not overthrowing.
And Santana chased that.
Visit your nearest Advance Auto Parts store to get the quality parts you want from people that know a lot about them.
Seven strikeouts for Greinke. And Dansby, the batter, he has one of the 3 Atlanta hits. Dansby's 3rd inning single gave the Braves some hope. He was moved to second on a sacrifice, but Greinke got out of trouble in that inning to preserve the 1-0 lead. Arizona added a 2-out run in the 4th off Newcomb, a 2-out home run by Marte in the 6th, and that's where we stand, 3-0 here in game 2.
And you saw Swanson turn his shoulder in frustration right there. That was a fastball down the middle. It's late in the game. You want to make him throw strikes. Greinke fell behind to Swanson before with breaking balls like that, and so I think he went up there taking and wishes he had that pitch over again.
Well, Zach Greinke is another example of why top of the rotation starters are so tough to find, as Dansby has another hit against him, and that'll bring Camargo to the plate. In this era where starting pitchers are going 5 or 5 2/3 or maybe even 6 innings, Greinke's an outlier, one of 14 guys in the big leagues to pitch over 200 innings. He's done that 5 times.
Slider away. Swanson does a great job of going out and getting it, not trying to pull it, but hitting the ball up the middle. The Braves have been outstanding this year with some late game comebacks. Culberson with some big home runs. Camargo, mom flies in from Panama and comes out of the stands. So we're going to see if they can pull something off here against a good pitcher.
166 runs in the 7th inning or later for the Braves offense. They need 3 to get this one tied. Archie Bradley and Andrew Chafin are up in the Diamondbacks bullpen as Greinke's hit the 100 pitch mark. Runner at first, 1 out with Camargo. Ender waiting next. And downstairs. And the other part of #1 starters doing what Greinke does, the break it gives your bullpen every 5th or 6th day.
Yeah, sometimes fans or different people like to point out failures of a bullpen, but sometimes you have to look at starters. If your starters are not going along in the game, then those guys are constantly pitching while they're fatigued. You can do that in April, May, but September and even August, it really starts to catch up with you.
Lightning flashing overhead as Camargo digs in. 1 on, 1 out. And a fly ball to center, right at Pollock. And 2 men down. Here's Ender. That's the other great thing about Greinke, and I think another reason, Paul, why he's so efficient. He invites contact, and when he gets contact, it's oftentimes not hit very hard, and that's another example right there off Camargo's bat. He fell behind in the count. Camargo still hit the pitcher's pitch, and it was a routine fly ball to center. And that's going to be the last pitch he throws in this game. 103 for Greinke. 7 2/3 innings of shutout ball. The Arizona bullpen in play now in a 3-run game.
best in-home Wi-Fi experience. And by Delta Airlines.
3-0 Arizona has the lead. Zach Greinke is taken down for the Diamondbacks as you look in on our Xfinity cam. Beautiful day at SunTrust Park. Over 40,000 hoping for a comeback. Charlie Culberson is going to pinch hit for Ender Inciarte here. Not surprising. Ender's had trouble against left-handers. So it'll be Chafin versus Charlie. And then we presume Acuna will move to center. Culberson will go to left. Interesting story is Andrew Chafin. He's been very durable. He's been very good for Arizona. 71 appearances last year. After the 2017, Andrew Chafin got married in a barn in Ohio. He was born Kettering, Ohio in 1990. And he's really moved on up, Paul, because after getting married in a barn, he now lives in a 42-foot RV stationed on a Scottsdale horse farm during the season.
See, that's what I'm talking about. As a person from Louisville, Kentucky, growing up at Churchill Downs and now having 5 horses in my backyard, I like this guy a lot. But you're right, that's unusual.
He's got 2 quarter horses that he and his wife Shelby enjoy riding in the off-season. And Chafin out of Collins Western Reserve High School and Kent State University. Another Kent Stater. Dustin Hermanson, Steve Stone, 2 Kent Staters.
You better have the scouting report down on those horses so that they don't fly off. Number 1 on the scale chip is bomb-proof, which means no matter what, they won't throw you. So pitching in the big leagues, you want to make sure that those horses are bomb-proof.
Every pitcher wants to be bomb-proof. They want to keep the
That's
ball in the
true,
ballpark. 2-1. He is lined out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Charlie has been clutch this year, as we all know, coming through with some big home runs, some big base hits. We'll see if he can do it here today.
Two balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. Good take low.
That is a great take right there. You know, Danny Santana had a tough at bat against Greinke on a nasty changeup away. It's really tough to sit for 2.5 hours and then come off the bench and face those nasty pitches and not be so excited that you really get a look at it and you let a pitch like that go. That is not easy to do as a pitcher. When a pinch hitter came up against me, I knew they were going to be aggressive. I knew they were going to be ready to go, and you kind of feasted on that.
Big pitch right here. Runner goes. It's outside. The Braves bring the tying run to the plate. So Torey Lovullo brings on Chafin to face Inciarte. The Braves surprise everybody and bring in Charlie Culberson to pinch hit. Culberson walks, and that's going to be it for Chafin. Archie Bradley, a flamethrower, is up and ready to go. He's going to face Albies and maybe Freddie Freeman as the Braves try to rally late. for Arizona, third pitcher of the inning. Greinke started it. Got the first 2 outs. Chafin gave up the walk to Culberson. Now Ozzie Albies will be the batter with a chance to tie the game with 1 swing of the bat. Albies 0 for 3. He saw Bradley last night and flied out to left and had a good cut there.
Bradley's going to throw a fastball in the mid to upper 90s, and he has the spike curve that he throws occasionally. I like the heat against Albies because it does not affect him. He is a great fastball hitter, just missing that first one.
I wonder why Greinke was taken out of the game cruising along. Well, he's been right around 100, 101 pitches on average in all of his starts this year. That one's off the catcher's glove. The season high in pitches is 109. That was back on June 2nd. So nothing truly out of the ordinary as far as that's concerned. However, he left it to Chafin, who walked a man. And now it's up to Bradley to take care of Ozzie here, and he's jumped out ahead 0-2. A couple of big Braves fans, Ricky and Debbie Joyce, watching this game at Sunset Grill in St. Augustine, Florida, hoping for a long ball right here. Listen to the crowd. 0-2. Lifted out of play, and Ozzie's still alive. 0-2.
There's that good fastball at 98 miles an hour, up and out of the zone. Most people would just swing through that and be overmatched. Ozzie fouling it off. Living to see another pitch.
Bradley ready. And here it is. Swing and a miss. Inning over. Greinke struck out 7. Bradley strikes out Ozzie, and we are off to the 9th inning. It's 3-0 Diamondbacks.
Yesterday he had been optioned on Wednesday. Well, he made his first start for Gwinnett since he was sent back, and he looked really good. He went 6 innings, only giving up 2 runs, and he did that very efficient, only on 72 pitches. He's done that a lot. Now, as for Max Fried will throw a side session tomorrow. He will then go to Gwinnett. So Luis Cajara will get another start on Wednesday. Max Fried will start again on Thursday, and then they're going to have both of those guys available for that start in Miami on Tuesday after the All-Star break, guys.
All right, Kelsey, thank you for that update. As we take a look at Ronald Acuna Jr., he takes over in center field for the Braves. Ender Inciarte was pinch hit for with Charlie Culberson. Charlie's in left. And A.J. Minter becomes the 3rd Atlanta reliever to work today. He's got the bottom part of the Arizona order. Owings, Mathis, and then we'll see. And was he out of the box, or was that a foul ball? Owings tried to bunt and fouled it off. That was an awkward play.
It really was. So Cutter on the inside part of the plate, 92. It hit his right shin while he was in the box, so it's a foul ball. That happened quickly.
So a strike to Owings, who's got a single and a run scored in his 3 trips to the plate. The pitch. There's that cutter. A beauty. 0-2. AJ's turned things around. Like hitters, pitchers go through slumps. I think it's safe to say that AJ had a bit of a rough patch a while ago, but he's started throwing great baseball. That's pulled foul.
Has not blown a lead this season, is a perfect 11 for 11 in hold chances, and has converted all of his 4 save opportunities, and some of those saves, like in Chicago, in St. they've been big ones.
His last outing was a rough one against Toronto, but that partially the fault of the Braves defense. Remember, that was the 3-error game for Atlanta against the Blue Jays. As he came on in the 8th inning of what was a 1-1 game, and Toronto sent 9 to the plate and scored 5 times and won 6-2. But before that, I mean, Minter had been just about letter perfect. Only a couple of walks in his last 10 games. And this one right back to the mound. AJ's got it, and a strike to first for out number 1. Minter has not blown a lead this year. He's 11 for 11 in holds, 4 for 4 in saves. So again, you talk about a young man growing up before your very eyes. Well, that's the case for Minter, who debuted last year. And with the uncertainty surrounding Arodys Vizcaino and his shoulder, again, Arodys to the DL before the game today. Minter and Winkler will get the closing opportunities for the Braves. Beginning today, quite frankly, but certainly in the second half of the year up in Washington. And a swing and a miss.
Along with some of the pitchers that Kelsey mentioned, Gohara, Fried, also walking around talking to Soroka today in the locker room, who is feeling better, not coming back anytime soon. But Minter, 24 years old. You mentioned Winkler. There's a lot of reasons to get excited about the Braves because they're only going to get better on the mound.
I love left-handed closers, just personally, and that's not because of Billy Wagner and the like, but you think about the way a lot of major league teams are constructed. Late innings, everybody wants that left-handed slugger to come off the bench and try to hit a home run. Well, a guy like Minter takes it away, or at least makes the other manager think twice or 3 times about going lefty-lefty. But the other part of it for Minter, let's face it, there are a lot of guys in the Braves bullpen who have made remarkable comebacks from pretty serious injuries. You know about Dan Winkler and his Tommy John and the broken elbow. Well, Minter had left forearm nerve inflammation in 2017, and the Braves worked him into the big leagues very carefully, trying to avoid using him on back-to-back days. As he's gotten bigger and stronger and has been more effective, Paul, Braves have been able to use him 2 days in a row, 3 times in 4 days.
No, it's been big, and I got to tell you this: we were in the playoffs. I was with Cleveland, and Josh Beckett was throwing for the Red Sox, and the Indians. We made a mistake, and we had one of his previous girlfriends sing the national anthem.
Who was that?
And so one of Beckett's previous girlfriends sing the national anthem,
So
thinking he would get worked up.
An ex-girlfriend sang the anthem with Beckett pitching in opposition to
Yes,
Cleveland.
and it was in the playoffs, and he got so mad, and he elevated his game to a new level, and he was throwing 98-mile-an-hour sinkers to lefties in at their hip, and it was coming back. And they said to me, I have no chance. I've never seen that pitch before.
That's dumped into right, and Markakis won't get to that. He'll play it on a short hop on the warning track. Mathis has had a good day today, catching Greinke and the rest of the staff, and 2 hits out of the 8-hole.
He really has. And getting back to my story, he said the hitters were saying, I can't prepare for that because there's no BP pitcher that can throw that, or no machine that can throw that. So I have no chance. And so we lost the game, and we are up 3-1 on the Red Sox. The Red Sox came back and won the World Series. It's a lot of pain for me, as you can tell. I think of A.J. Minter because he's left-handed, and he throws the cut fastball into lefties, and it can run up to 93, 94, 95 miles an hour. He can throw a straight fastball at 97, 98. So when a hitter comes up and they see a pitch that they don't see from anybody else in the league, you can't prepare for that. And I think that's one of the reasons that he is so effective and gets away with mistakes. When his control gets better, he will be lights out.
I want to go back to the girlfriend singing the anthem story.
I was trying to talk so long that you would not go back to that and forget it, but my strategy didn't work.
That's pretty cold-blooded, man. You bring out an ex to sing.
Yeah.
John Ryan Murphy is the batter. He's going to hit for Bradley here. Bradley did his job, struck out Albies to end a 8th-inning threat for the Braves. Yeah, I could see how Josh Beckett wouldn't take too kindly to that.
No.
I remember talking to him one time about what his pitching philosophy was and what he was trying to accomplish on the mound, and the way he described it really simplified things from a non-pitcher's perspective for me. As Murphy hits this one to center, and Acuna handles his first chance out there, no problem. 1 out. He said, imagine the front of the plate. You know, you can draw a home plate. He said, what I want to try to do is make little X's on the corners of the plate out in front. He can cut the ball, sink the ball, move the ball in and out of those spots and get different looks with each one of his pitches. And as you said, throwing 98 with the kind of movement he would have at a hitter's hip, I can see why they would have no chance.
That's it. And you made the X's on paper here, which I appreciate, which is basically a ball in the corner that goes off, or a ball off the corner that comes back on. Strikes that look like balls, or balls that look like strikes. He was very good at that. So was Maddox. And if you have pitches that go different directions and you have control of both of them, then it's usually a long day for the hitters.
Well, it was today for the Braves against Greinke. 7 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts. Everything else on his line, zeros. Chafin and Bradley have followed. And now Peralta the batter, lefty versus lefty with AJ, who missed off the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And there's the 96-mile-an-hour heat-seeking missile away to a lefty that goes off the plate. And as he commands that better, his numbers will only continue to improve.
One ball, 1 strike. Ooh, just missed. So it's 2-2. Arizona has pitched 4 shutouts this year. The Braves have been shut out 4 times this year. Atlanta's thrown 8 themselves. That's been fun to watch. And now the 2-2 from AJ is caught on and missed. Impressive inning for Mr. Minter. Gave up a soft hit, but nothing else. Last call for Atlanta. Freeman, Markakis, and Flowers coming up. Atlanta needs 3 to tie, 4 to walk off at home in Game 2 with Arizona. Unforgettable show from the nation's capital. The MLB All-Star Game is Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox. Stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Freddie Freeman's on his way to Washington. He's also on his way to the plate in the 9th inning for Atlanta today. He's got to face Brad Boxberger, who didn't have an immaculate 9th inning, but he did have a perfect one. He struck out all 3 Braves to pick up his 23rd save yesterday in what was a 2-1 Arizona victory.
We're trying to throw the chop at him, Chip. A lot of people, a lot of excitement here, but today not much to cheer for on the Braves offense. Great pitching from Greinke, and they have not been able to get that timely hit. But Freddie Freeman is stepping in against Brad Boxberger, Arizona's closer. We'll see if he can get things started.
He's been good. 37 games, 23 saves. He has walked 18 men, so if you can be patient, he might help your cause. Braves need a couple of base runners, and that one right off Freddie's knuckles and fouled away. Strike 1. Boxberger has blown 4 saves. Last 9 games, opponents hitting .071 against him. Right-handers, 2 for their last 29 against him. First batters are 3 for 32 against him. All of those stats, what you love to see from your closer if you're Arizona.
And he just got some help on that fastball down that was well below the strike zone.
And Freddie just about spoiled the shift. That was close. Did that go over the bag fair at third? Tom Hallion said no. Fans saw that dust up of chalk, but it did go foul. 0-2. And in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Freddie had to swing at that 0-2 pitch because the previous ball, which was a ball, was called the strike from Estabrook. So now he's in protect mode.
And a swing and a miss. So Freeman's retired on strikes. 9 Braves have struck out in this game. First time they've gotten Freddie, and there's the first out.
This is a changeup after throwing the fastballs down and away. He throws a changeup in. You see it sliding off the last 2 fingers. And it was enough to have Freddie out in front.
So Boxberger has seen 4 Braves in this series. He's struck them all out. Nick Markakis has a 6-game hitting streak on the line right here. And he takes ball 1. They're in the 9th inning in Miami. Marlins 2, Phillies nothing. Mets 7, Nationals 4. That one's in the 9th. Braves have 2 outs left, down 3-0 today. Ball 1, strike 1 to the Braves right fielder. There's that change, but Nick took it. 2 balls and a strike. Lined over third, a base hit. So Boxberger will not remain perfect in Atlanta. Markakis keeps the hitting streak alive. It's at 7 games. And here comes Tyler Flowers, who doubled his last time up.
Nick Markakis continuing to impress. This is a fastball in. He works the other way. He wants to hit the ball out in front of the plate. He can pull it. He can also go the other way. He can be fooled and foul great pitches off. He comes through again. In the dictionary, you look up professional hitter. This guy's picture's right there.
119 hits for Markakis now. There's 1. Braves need another base runner. And a strike to the Atlanta catcher. Perfect pitch. And we are seeing some pinpoint pitching from Greinke and Boxberger in this game.
I agree.
And Tyler Flowers didn't get it. And the Braves are down to their last out. 3 pitches ends that at bat for the Braves catcher. And it's up to Acuna to keep the game alive.
92 miles an hour. He's got a little bit of hitch in his delivery, almost pushes the ball. The elbow is low, which you don't necessarily teach, but it is very effective, and the ball is getting on the hitters. Here's a closer, right-handed, throwing 90 to 92, which is below a starter average.
But if you have command, and he does, awfully tough to hit him. No balls and a strike for Ronald. He's 0 for 3, including a strikeout. Now Boxberger a strike away. No balls, 2 strikes.
Acuna's job here is not necessarily to hit a 2-run home run. We'll take it, but to get on base and bring that tying run up to the plate.
If he can do that, Kurt Suzuki would be the next hitter. And good take there. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You see Zook, who eats fastballs for lunch and has the ability to hit the big 3-run home run. Just got to get him up to the plate first.
One ball, 2 strikes. And that's tipped and caught, and that is your ball game. For the 2nd day in a row, Boxberger strikes out the side to pick up a save, and Arizona has shut out the Braves 3-0 today. Diamondbacks have won this series. Too much Zach Greinke today. Paul will take our chances with Patrick Corbin, with Julio Teheran going for the Braves. Corbin, another all-star for Arizona.
No, I hear you, Chip, and this is an important series. Unfortunately, the Braves will need to salvage it with a win tomorrow, dropping the first 2. You do have to credit Zach Greinke and their other pitchers for coming in and making the pitches when they needed to. Braves struggling a little bit with runners in scoring position.
Greinke's the winner. He's now 10-5. Newcomb suffers the loss. He's 8-5. Boxberger's 24th save of the year. 2 hours and 53 minutes. Braves shut out for the 5th time in 2018. Plenty to talk about on Braves Live. It's presented by Xfinity. Paul and I will join Rebecca and Nick Green for that after the break here at SunTrust Park in Atlanta.